Like, it take a real motherfucker to get sober.
Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's not necessarily what you do. Because I promise you, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you will be okay.
What do we know about trauma scientifically? It changes the chemistry in the brain.
We can relate to one another, you know. That's why this camaraderie is so awesome, because we just get it and we don't judge.
You can't fight new battles with old tactics. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your character becomes your destiny.
What do you want to be remembered by when you're gone?
What is Grounded, fam? It's your boy Johnny Gio. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Grounded Phoenix podcast. As always, the purpose of this channel is to express vulnerability and expand awareness to addiction, trauma, and mental health. Joining me today is, you might recognize him from the movie 300, King Leonidas. Just kidding. What's up, guys? My boy Dan Larrick is joining me here. What's Grounded, bro?
What's up, brother?
How you doing today?
Doing good. Excited to, my first podcast actually, so just excited to see what this is all about and then just kind of kick some ideas around.
Nice, dude. You know, I had to mention that King Leonidas. You look, I don't know, maybe it's because you got the muscles and all that, dude. I was like, man, I was just watching 300 earlier today, and I was like, man, I think I'm going to interview this guy today. High key. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, man. I'm really excited about this interview just because there's a lot of things that, well, at least from what I've seen on your Instagram, because we didn't really get a chance to speak. And that's what I like about this, because, you know, we're just kind of going off of the top of the dome here. But I'm excited because I know you're a father. I know you're sober. I know you're into fitness. And I feel like we got to kind of have like the same mindset, and we want to help people out and grow. So those are some subjects we're going to be talking about. But to start off, bro, I know you're sober. You got 4 years, or how much time you got on you?
Yeah, 4 years, June 24th.
June 24th. Congratulations, brother. Nice. But I got to ask, bro, why? Why get sober? Like, I mean, bro, booze are awesome, dog. Why would anybody get sober? Why?
For me, like, basically it came down to my family or the booze. So, it was something that, really, at least I thought wasn't an issue for a long time, but then it just built and it caused so much issues with my wife, and then just my kids were starting to get a little older and kind of starting to, maybe understand certain things, or just seeing that I wasn't, as present as I need to be. And she never necessarily gave me the ultimatum, but it was coming down to that, where it was pick one or the other.
Wow. And you and your wife are still together?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, bro. That's awesome to hear, man. I'm really glad that it turned out well for you. And I just want to add that a lot of people that watch this podcast understand and know that I'm not with my kid's mother, and I'm actually glad it turned out that way, because our relationship started off pretty fast. We started off as parents really, really young, and I thought that the booze, the drinking, the coke, all that stuff was the problem, when in reality it was the solution for what I was going through in here, right? And I actually got sober for 2 years while I was in that relationship, but I actually thought that was gonna fix everything, but it didn't at all. It was like the opposite. It was like we were more affectionate, and we would get along kind of more when I was drinking and doing a lot of fucked up shit, compared to when I got sober. So I'm really happy for you, though, that you were able to work things out with her. I'm assuming you guys got a lot of invested into your relationship, and you guys, started up with a good foundation.
Yeah, I mean, like when we first got together, it was actually, I played softball with her brother, and so like drinking there and stuff like that, and it, wasn't an issue at first, and kind of built a bond from that. And not that drinking was necessarily like a big part of our relationship and stuff. Like, she drinks a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But I mean, it just kind of snowballed from there as far as my issues with it. But she kind of stuck with me, surprisingly.
That's a good woman right there, bro. I think you hit the nail right on the head right there. My kid's mom was a big drinker. She loved drinking. That was how we bonded, how we partied together. So as soon as I stopped drinking, it was like, well, what do we have in common, really, So something that you mentioned that I really like is, you talked about being more present, bro. And even now in sobriety, it's hard for me to stay present because there's still so much going on. I do it more than before, but what's one way that you manage to just be present and be there for your kids and enjoy those moments and build those memories that you can't have back, but now that you're there for those moments.
I think, and one thing that it for me, it was part of stuff that like strategy that I use with my fitness, is that I plan stuff and have set days, for training days. So what I've tried to do is have set days that we make like a family day, and try not to let too much come in between, us not getting those kind of days in. And it's just really important for us to have those days together and go do something fun or exciting. We have an amusement park right around here close to my house, that we have season tickets, season passes to, and like we really like doing that kind of stuff. Going to the zoo tomorrow, so just trying to do stuff, get it set and have a time, and not let little distractions come in and let us reschedule stuff or not do certain stuff. So I think just having those set days of being there for them has been big.
Yeah, bro, very well said. I think just having some sort of structure and like having things organized in life overall in general, that it's crazy to me how like working out and fitness kind of snowballs and like helps out in other aspects of life when you start applying those same principles or those same ways of life, right? And that's something that has really worked for me, although I'll be slacking sometimes, bro. I'll be slacking, and we're gonna be talking about that in a little bit. But one thing I want to talk about is how did you manage to stay sober this long, or like initially did you go through like some sort of rehab, or what was your deal? I like to really keep it diverse on here. Not necessarily everybody has been to jail or rehab center, so I'm open to any forms of rehabilitation or recovery.
I really didn't use any any classes or anything necessarily like that. I actually had to court mandated AA meetings in the past from a DUI in my early 20s. So I think at that time I looked at those as a weak thing to do, and that they weren't needed, and I never did take it seriously those first, like when they were court mandated for me to go. But I don't know, I just kind of put it in my mind as far as what I wanted and what was going to be more important to me. And because I have a lot of family and a lot of support that way, and just people telling me even just like a few days a week in, how good that was. And that was kind of the strength that I needed to lean on. It was family, and just knowing that I had that support and knowing that I had their backing and telling me that I was doing good things helped me a lot.
Right on, dude. Right on. I actually I went through AA myself early on. I caught a case with some Xanax on deck. I was a pharmacy technician, go figure. And I got caught up with some Xanax, bro. And I went to these court mandated AA meetings, but I looked around and I was like, damn, like this isn't me. Like I'm not this bad. But then again, when I would go out and I drink, I'm also not as good as the other people holding their liquor. So I was kind of stuck in the middle of like, damn, where do I belong? Who am I? How do I fix myself, or what do I do? Did you find yourself in a situation where like I don't belong here, or what do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself an addict or an alcoholic, or what term do you like to use to, like, I guess, classify yourself?
Um, I say it as alcoholic. As far as addict, I think not that it's anything bad to say addict, but I think that just kind of more, at least in my mind, lumps it into more pill abuse or any kind of other drugs. As far as addict, I know alcoholic could be addict too, right? But I don't know why I put it like that. So I say alcoholic. I say I'll always be an alcoholic, but I'll never be the drunk that I used to be, is something that I say, right? So like I look at it like I'm always an alcoholic, but when I was in the darkest times, I was a drunk that just wasn't taking care of my responsibilities, and I say I'll never get back to that guy.
So you say that to keep it in your mind that, what, like, even if I decide to drink right now, I'm still an alcoholic. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, is that what you say to yourself?
Yeah, because this far into of us, I've had thoughts of could I go back to drinking and maybe just dabble in it a little bit, but then I get in my head like, well, what's the point? I want to get fucked up. So it's like if I still have that in my head as far as what's a beer? Like, why am I gonna just drink one beer? I'm gonna get wasted.
How do you manage yourself to mind fuck yourself out of that? Because I've had those early on, like not now, but how what do you say to yourself when that happens? When not having a quote unquote program, there's people in NA that have like these spiritual principles and all that. What is something that you fall back on?
The fitness thing was a big thing for me, especially like for myself, and then to perceive to the outside, because especially early on I kept it real close and I didn't really tell too many people how severe the problem was that I had, like professionally at work. Really nobody knew. So when people might not see me drinking, or then in my head when I was wanting to drink, I put it back to a fitness connection where I was like, I can't do that because of the fitness goals that I want to get to. That's not going to make me any better, and that's not going to help me perform in the gym. And you know, I just used that as whatever crutch I could, whether in times where like I say, telling it to other people, I use that as just like a shield to say like, oh, I can't drink today because I got to work out, just because I didn't want to get into it with other people of why that I'm sober now.
Right on, dude. Right on. I know that you're very passionate about helping other men achieve their fitness goals, build muscle or lose fat, and also regain confidence. And you do that only through fitness, or is there any other type of program or something that you are I guess, a professional at, or you suggest to people that seek out help?
So as far as what I'm trying to really pitch, it's mainly through fitness and then just getting your nutrition in check. And then I think that helps then build the confidence, to do other things in your life as far as, staying sober and just using that for just overall daily confidence too. Like I think being sober, getting fit, I present myself in a much different way than I used to as far as confidence wise. And that's something that I want to share and show to other people, like that can be used in that way, right? And especially to other addicts, that we can put our addiction into something that's positive instead of just something that's so negative on our life.
Right on, dude. Very well said. There's a post you did, and it was I think it was motivation versus discipline. What's the difference between both?
So, like for me, like to think is motivation is something that is a quick spark and fades real fast, and discipline is something that you have to actively, continue to do. Where just like sobriety, where anybody can have that spark or that idea that they want to get sober, but if they don't have the discipline to see it through, they'll never accomplish it fully. So motivation's such a fleeting thing, and can't be relied upon, because it's just such a quick get it and go kind of thing, and the discipline is what you really need.
Definitely, bro. I gotta admit, I saw that post and I was eating a fucking roll of Oreo cookies. And I mean, I was just like, oh shit. I was like, I consider myself to be disciplined, but sometimes, bro, sometimes I'm just like, I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I could have a roll of cookies. It was a whole roll, my guy. It was a whole damn roll.
I go ham on some cheat meals, so I like some cookies and stuff like that. So I stay disciplined through the week, but it's on plan that I get to eat some bullshit on the weekend, and that's when I go to town.
Nice. I know it could be hard to sustain being disciplined, because motivation for me, it helps, but yeah, you're right. It's like a fleeting thought and feeling. I go to YouTube for motivational videos, the ones with the music and everything. Like, I love those, bro. If I start my mornings off with those, it's on. But to sustain that, it's hard, and it is through discipline. But how do you go to obtaining that discipline? Is it through like habitual, almost like programming yourself? Like, what's one way that you established true solid discipline?
I think for me it was chasing numbers in the gym, chasing numbers in the gym, chasing, physique goals, where I knew that if it was just, like a motivated thing, if I'm going to go to the gym only, a couple times, that I wasn't going to get the physique that I wanted. And one thing to say too, in my early 20s, I trained quite a bit and I was in pretty good shape. And then let the drinking, and then I got fat and got out of stuff. So I knew what the body was capable of prior, right? So like getting back to that was something that was a driver for me. So I kind of already had a little bit of, the base knowledge of the training and how to eat and everything. It was just then getting back to it.
What do you say to somebody that has zero discipline, like nothing?
I say let's start slow, and I don't think this can necessarily be tied as direct to the sobriety thing, but especially with the fitness, so many people just want to jump into the deep end, go balls deep and saying I'm gonna, change all my food. I'm gonna go to the gym 6 times a week, and that just can't be, can't be the method for a lot of people, because they're gonna go in, they're sore as hell, it sucks. They try to eat, salads every day, and that kind of method just doesn't work. And so let's just go slow. Let's start changing some things. And I guess to tie it back to sobriety, if somebody's trying to get sober, it could be just maybe limiting exposure to certain places that, that drive you to drink or something like that. So just taking it slow and not just trying to, flip the switch and go all in necessarily, I think is a big thing for people, especially just first starting out.
Right on, dude. Yeah, I agree with that. Um, I gotta ask, are you familiar with the 3 different body types? Is it like ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph? Right. For those that don't know, I guess there's like 3 different body types genetically, I guess, based on your skeletal system, which is like the person that gains weight fairly quick and can get fat, compared to other people faster. Then there's like the skinny guy that just eats everything and can't seem to gain weight for some reason. And then there's the guy that just works out, eats whatever he wants, and like just looks good, like the perfect body. Um, does that play a huge role, you think, in like fitness? Do you believe in that? And is that like something you recommend people to get informed on?
I think it's good maybe to touch base on it, but to limit yourself because of what you think what category you think might fit in, I don't think would be a benefit, right? Like I do think there is, something to that science where, certain people put on muscle so much easier, but they might have a harder time losing the fat to, like to get shredded. Certain people can, get real lean easy, but they find it real hard to put on muscle. So having an understanding of how your body works, I think then can help you decide what kind of stuff you want to eat or what training methods you might want to go for. But not to say like, oh, I fit this body category, now I'm not going to be able to gain muscle, I wouldn't think would be a benefit.
Right on. Yeah, I agree. And I think, I know for me at least, I spend a lot of time early on in my fitness journey, you would say, is comparing myself to other people and really robbing myself of like, I'm not there yet. So like, I don't, why should I even continue? Or even so it actually, so it's like, it's helped me, and it's also been like a bad thing because I could compare myself to someone and be like, I'm going to fucking catch that person. You know what I'm saying? So for you, have you ever experienced that, like where you have compared yourself to other people, or you just really just try to focus on yourself?
It's a tough mental battle, I think, because then especially some of the physiques that you might look at and you're like, damn, I want to be like that. But then, I'm 5'10", and it'd be like Chris Hemsworth, and the guy's 6'3", and got shoulders that are a foot wider than mine. So no matter what I do, is never, I'm never gonna achieve that. And sometimes it's a mental fuck, just because, people say like put in the effort and you can get whatever you want, but regardless of what I do, I'm not getting 4 inches taller now.
I like to talk about on this platform how I like to plant seeds. I really don't like to tell people, hey, you need to do this. Like, if you don't do this, you're not going to get this. So like, I like to make suggestions. I like to plant seeds so people could, establish their own thoughts, or maybe not now, but somewhere down the line, they'll be like, hey, I heard this fucking podcast, and and the dude was interviewing the fucking main character from the movie 300, and he said this, so like I like to make suggestions and plant seeds, but you literally plant seeds. Like, you got a garden, right? Tell me about your garden, and let's talk about nutrition real quick, because I know for me that's also one big struggle, bro. For me, I am either bulking dirty, or and then once I gain the weight and like some mass, I want to cut. I'm cutting by intermittent fasting, but I'm not getting the proper micro, so I end up coming back to where I was at. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a constant battle. How important is the nutrition and the micronutrients, and how? And then just to settle this, in your opinion, how much protein does a body need based on your weight? Like, how is it 1.5 grams? Is it zero point 0.5 grams? Is it 2.5 grams of your body weight? What is it?
I'd say if you're looking to build muscle, you need to be at least a gram per pound of body mass. And which is, one of the bigger things that you got to look at. And I'm also a big advocate of let's get some carbs in there too, especially if you are trying to, to build some muscle. I think, people that run those low carb diets, the performance in the gym is going to suffer, at least in my mind. There's obviously outliers, and, one size doesn't fit all for everybody. Some people might love that kind of, training or, dieting wise. But for me, and from what I typically see with most people, keeping those carbs in there, one, it's going to give you that little bit of full feeling, and who doesn't love some carbs, right? So when you try to tell somebody to cut them all out, that's such a hard battle to go through. And then once they do break, they're just back into all kinds of crazy shit. And so, I mean, and then to touch on the garden thing, how you brought that up, one thing with the garden is, early in sobriety for me, I needed something to put my mind into, because especially real early on, I wasn't necessarily as back into the fitness stuff as I am now. Like I would train a little bit, but it wasn't as hardcore, I guess, if you want to say. So like I needed things to do to keep my mind busy, and the garden was one of them. And I mean, as corny as it sounds, I liked seeing the change in things. Just like, I felt like I was going through changes, and I liked seeing things grow. I liked seeing things developed that I put my attention into was working well, and try to kind of relate that to, what I was doing with my sobriety.
Damn, bro, very well said, dude. I actually, when I had my old place, I like gardening myself, but bro, I could not grow grass to save the life of me. Like, for some reason, these that grass seeds, the Saint Augustine patches, they would not. Is it the soil? Can it be the soil at one point? Because man, I was trying.
Yeah. Yeah, like in my garden, I brought in a bunch of like compost and stuff that I like shipped in. I got a big truckload of it to, get some soil amendments in there to make it nutrient, and growable.
So fertilizer, just throwing some fertilizer and watering the soil before you plant anything, it doesn't always work.
I mean, that could typically work. I mean, as long as you put the right fertilizer down on it.
Yeah, probably probably put the wrong fertilizer. But I get what you're talking about. It's like a little, like, it's therapeutic, right? Even just doing it, like you said, watching the process and the plants growing, just like you were growing yourself. Um, I gotta ask, dude, do you believe in a higher power? Are you spiritual? Do you believe in God? And how does that play a role in your life, if it does?
To be honest, I'm not necessarily too religious. Um, Grew up in the church, kind of. My parents still go to church. At least my mom does. She goes every Sunday still. And growing up, I was in there every Sunday. Um, to say that I don't believe in a higher power, I don't know if I'd go that far. Um, and I think there is a lot of benefit to people in the church, just in the sense of, having a community of people around you. In that sense, I really like, what some churches do, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of misleading things and false promises that people can take from it. Uh, so I'd say not too religious, but also I wouldn't go too far to say that I'm an atheist or something like that. So
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, and I never really talk about like religion. I guess at this point, I mean, I'm Catholic. Well, I guess I'm Catholic, but I'm not. I believe in God. but I also lost faith in God, and I regained it through crystal chakras and like, the universe and energy and all that. So I guess you could say I believe in a lot of things. The most important thing for me is just to have, I guess, faith in something that I feel like I can trust, and just to know that I don't necessarily have to be in control all the time, and just say, like, whatever happens, happens, and that's the way it's planned out. And I guess where I'm going with this is, has it ever occurred to you, like, a situation where something has happened that was, like, at the time seemed very negative, but then come to find out, like, it was probably for good, and there was like a silver lining in it?
Um, I'd say I don't know if you want to. There was some heated stuff with my wife at times, and looking back on those times, I always just looked at it as such a negative. But I think if at times it didn't get that to those extremes, would I have actually made the decision to change, right? Like, here, one thing, crazy night, punched the back window of my house, stitches across my hand now, bleeding hand and shit. And at the time, I just, didn't think much of it. But, looking back on those times, I needed to pull from those such dark days to know that I needed to change. Where those were like the things that stuck with me. Nights like that, some other nights where the cops might have got called. Those are the nights that I pulled on when I was struggling in my early days of sobriety. That I knew those days were that could be there. Like, I can't let myself slip to get back to those times.
Right on, bro. Damn, that's crazy. You have stitches too. Look, check this out. Same thing, bro. Same thing. I punched through a glass window. Look at that. That thing's gnarly.
Yeah, mine's
25
like
stitches.
right here across my hand.
Nice. That's just there to remind us, bro.
Yeah, I got like a scar right here in my eyebrow from just another dumb night. It's just stuff like that, and you look yourself in the mirror and you see the things that you taken from it, and those are the constant reminders of what it could be or where it could have went.
Right on, dude. No, yeah, dude. I agree with you. Hey, man, check this out. I got one more question for you, but before I ask you this question, is there something, because I like to provide this platform for people that want to share anything they might be going through. I want to keep the platform open for you to talk about anything you want, or just have a question for me. And if not, then I'll just carry on and ask you the last final signature question.
Uh, so what motivated you to start a podcast to let people talk like this?
Damn, I've never been asked that question, but the reason why I started this podcast, and it all started with me sleeping on the floor of my mom's house after I separated with my kid's mother. Um, bro, that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, even harder than not drinking, because I grew up without knowing my biological father, and my mom separating from my stepdad, him sleeping on the couch, and I was going down the same path. I was repeating the same path, and as I was a kid, I remember, like, damn, why are they even together if they don't even love each other? This is causing more harm to me if they would just separate. So that's when I realized, yo, like, you need to separate from this woman, because it's not even the drinking anymore. You guys just don't love each other anymore, and that's okay, and that's fine. And I think we have a really good relationship now. But anyways, moving to, like, your actual questions, I was sleeping on the floor of my mom's house, and me and my sister shared the damn living room. And I remember, like, the one thing that really motivated me to just stay on this path of being sober, and, like, going on my fitness journey, then getting into chakras and reading books about the subconscious mind. I realized that what was motivating me was these YouTube videos. And I was like, hey, I told my sister, I was on the floor, I was like, I got an idea. I was like, what if I make one video, just one video, talking about how, like, my journey in sobriety. There's so many out there, but I thought I was the only one with this fucking bright ass idea. And I was like, I'm gonna do one. She was like, why just one? Why don't you just make a channel and start making a lot of videos? And I was like, nah. So I did this video, and when I watched this video, bro, I was I was shitting bricks. I was shitting bricks. I was scared as fuck. I was stuttering. I didn't like my voice. I didn't like the way I presented myself. And I realized there was so many insecurities. So the same way I tackled like me being 130 pounds now to being 175 pounds, I tackled that same challenge. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get over this fucking shyness. I'm gonna get over this way of just holding things in, and I'm just gonna fucking put it all out there. So I made a video about my sexual abuse as a kid. I made a video about my drinking. I made a video about how I never met my father, and then now this platform is mainly to give people a safe space to share their own stories and kind of interact with me and bounce ideas off of one another, help each other grow. Because I don't know for you, bro, but for me, every time I do something like this, it's like a mastermind. It's like a way of growing and ideas spark in my mind, and I'm just like, oh damn, like that really hit. I needed to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I get out of this. And if I did not go through that process of being comfortable in uncomfortability, because that's what I do now. Believe it or not, I'm shedding bricks right now as I speak, but I'm getting better at it. And that's growth to me. And that's exactly why I do this, to create a safe space for other people to do exactly what I'm doing and grow. They may not have a million views, but even if it's one person I help, or even if one person helps me, because I'm not gonna lie, I benefit from this. You know, I'm healing at the same time through things that I didn't even know I needed healing from. You know, so essentially that's where I'm at now. It started off with me just wanting to make one video, and now it's continuing by me wanting to grow and help other people. And I think you share that same passion of wanting to help people. Am I right?
Oh, for sure. And one thing too, like being the first podcast that I've been on, I was nervous as hell, coming on this, not knowing what we're going to talk about, trying not to be too uptight and, and stiff in the damn thing, and trying to allow myself to just kind of let loose a little bit and be free. So yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you, letting me come on here, because with that too, like wanting to share it with people. And so, early on in the sobriety, I looked at it as such a weakness that I was sober, and to admit that I had a problem and that I couldn't control myself, it was something that I would rarely speak about, only people with, in my inner circle. And even with them, I really wouldn't open up too much about it and talk about things that were on my mind. And the more that I've done it, and really just this past June on Instagram is really the first that I've even opened up about it at all. And that first post about it, I was so nervous to even say it, and what the reaction was going to be, and if people at work might find out, or it's just other people might find out, and just the outreach of good vibes that came from it, and people supporting me, and had a couple people reach out in DM saying that they were in the middle of trying to get sober, and just trying to share anything that I could with them, and just a pat on the back if they needed, or just saying good job or whatever. Any way that I could try to help somebody, felt good, and really try to, motivate me to open up a little bit more about it, speak more on it, on my page. And like you said, we're not getting millions of views like, some people, but if anybody sees it, and if that can help, if me talking about it can allow one person to get sober and see the benefits that I have from it, then that's a win.
Right on, bro. Very well said, man. And that's exactly what this podcast is all about, man. And it's about vulnerability, and I was I greatly misunderstood being vulnerable as a weakness. I was like expressing yourself, talking about stuff, but like, man, did I get it twisted, man? It's like a huge strength, man, to be vulnerable and to speak up about like how you feel and what's really going on, bro. That's big, man. That's to me, that's like more than reaching a max PR. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's the internal stuff that I feel a lot of people, including myself, have more issues with than the external stuff. Because if you once you heal and you work on the inside stuff, that outside stuff, it's just gonna come naturally. And that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, I agree, man.
So I really appreciate you for coming on, man. I hope this was a good experience for you being your first podcast. I think you did great. I think you killed
Yeah,
it.
appreciate it.
And so before I let you go though, you can't go now, bro. You can't go, and I gotta ask you this one more question.
All right, let's hear it.
And that is that there's three things in life that are guaranteed, and they're actually marked in our gravestone. That's our birthday, the day we pass, and that dash in the middle that I feel like we all overlook. What is it that you want to be remembered by when you're gone?
I want to be somebody that gets looked at as somebody that cared and was considerate, but also very self-driven to accomplish the goals that he wanted as well. So make an impact with other people, but also be very driven to accomplish goals for myself, even and not consider that a selfish way.
That's big, bro. I agree with you. And speaking, I mean, I know I'm extending this a little bit, but speaking like about, being selfish, I think we're all naturally selfish, and I really, to a certain degree, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that being selfish and wanting things for yourself in a healthy way, as long as it's not in getting somebody else in trouble or hurting somebody, is healthy. Because I know for me, I was so considerate of other people, sometimes a little too much, that I didn't really care about myself. And now I put myself first, because if I don't put myself first, that means that my kids are not getting a dad that's putting himself first. That means that they might not be all right. So if I take care of myself and put myself first, even if I am being selfish, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Right, I agree. I don't, you say people say selfish, and it off, obviously often gets looked at in such a negative light. But like you said, I do think you need to be in a way selfish and think about yourself, because, like you said, I mean, if you can't be comfortable with yourself and spend time with yourself, then you're not going to present it in any kind of a good way either. So you got to take care of yourself, and it's not selfish to do things for yourself.
Right on, bro. Appreciate it, man. I'm gonna tap in with you to get some workout tips, because I feel like your boy has plateaued over here. So I'm gonna link up with you, man. I appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, man, been fun. Appreciate it.